You ever meet someone who seems supportive at first, almost encouraging, until you realize their kindness was nothing more than a disguise? That was Mark, my boss. The man who smiled in my face every morning while quietly building a trap under my feet. When I joined the company 3 years ago, everyone warned me that the tech world was competitive. I just didn't realize the real threat wouldn't be the work, but the person who was supposed to lead me. At first, Mark seemed like the perfect manager. He complimented my ideas in meetings, told me I had potential, even joked that one day I might replace him. I didn't know he meant that as a warning, not a compliment. But the real cracks started showing about 6 months in. Every project I completed, he somehow presented as his own team leadership. Every time I brought up a new idea, he already had something similar in progress. And whenever something went wrong, no matter how small, my name magically appeared in the responsibility section. Still, I pushed through. I convinced myself this was normal office politics, that I just needed to work harder, be better, prove my worth. What a joke that was. A year into my job, Mark called me into his office and said he had great news. He wanted to put me in charge of a big internal project, a chance to lead, a chance to shine. Or so I thought. From day one, something felt off. Files I needed weren't shared. People on the team forgot to invite me to meetings. Information mysteriously went missing. And anytime I asked Mark for support, he gave me that patronizing smile and said, "You've got this, Ethan. Leaders figure it out." That was my red flag. Actually, it was a red billboard. But I didn't see the whole picture until I stumbled into the office early one morning and overheard Mark talking to another manager. "Just give it 2 more weeks. He'll fall apart on his own. Then I can bring in Jason. He's ready to take over." Jason, his friend. The one he'd been trying to sneak into the company for months. My stomach dropped. I wasn't imagining it. He really was setting me up. That night, I went home and did something I should have done a long time ago. I pulled up every email, every message, every change he ever made to my work. And that's when the truth started to reveal itself piece by piece. He'd altered deadlines in our project tracker without telling me. He'd removed files from shared folders so he could claim I forgot to include them. He'd even edited one of my reports, introduced mistakes, then sent it to upper management to prove I was sloppy. But the real slap in the face came when I discovered a private Slack channel he created with 2 other coworkers. They called it the Reality Club, which already made me want to roll my eyes. But the messages inside wiped the smile off my face instantly. There they were, Mark and his little committee mocking me, planning how to discredit me, and discussing the termination package he wanted HR to approve after he fired me. A firing he planned to justify by claiming I'd mishandled project funds. Money I never even had access to. He'd typed out a full report accusing me of financial misconduct. And he had the nerve to timestamp it 2 weeks before assigning me the task he claimed I'd mishandled. That's when something inside me snapped. Not out of anger, out of clarity. If Mark wanted to play games, he'd just chosen the wrong opponent. The next day, I showed up to work like nothing happened. I smiled. I nodded. I took notes. I agreed with every unrealistic demand he threw at me. And quietly, silently, I began building my own file. Screenshots, email timestamps, document history logs showing his edits, Slack messages, screens of him approving budgets he later claimed he'd never seen. What he didn't know was that his carelessness was my weapon. By the end of 2 weeks, I had more evidence in my folder than HR collected in a year. And then, the golden piece. A series of invoices showing that Mark had been paying a freelancer for side tasks work that didn't even exist. The freelancer's name? His cousin. The payments? Coming out of the department budget. This man wasn't just sabotaging me. He was dipping company funds for personal gain. Suddenly, things became very simple. Mark had created a trap for me, but he'd made it out of his own lies. All I had to do was hand it to the right person. The day of his big director promotion meeting arrived. Mark wore the cockiest grin I'd ever seen, like he had already won. He'd even printed out a recommendation letter written by himself for his own promotion. Meanwhile, I walked into HR with a flash drive and a calmness that probably terrified them. "I need to show you something," I said, and then I hit play. 20 minutes later, HR looked like they'd witnessed a crime documentary. Corporate legal was brought in. Then the CFO. Then the VP. My file circulated faster than office gossip. And while they reviewed years of his manipulation, I sat outside the conference room sipping the free HR coffee like a guest waiting for a table at a restaurant. Then came the call. "Emily, please step inside." Inside the room, Mark sat stiffly with a look I'd been waiting months to see. Panic. The VP turned to him and asked, "Would you like to explain these financial discrepancies?" He stuttered. He denied. He blamed clerical mistakes. He even tried, this was rich. He even tried to blame me. But every time he opened his mouth, they countered with another screenshot, another log, another digital footprint he was too arrogant to think anyone would ever follow. It didn't take an hour. It didn't take half an hour. 15 minutes in, they escorted him out of the room. He was fired that same day. They didn't even let him pack his belongings. Security handed him a cardboard box and walked him out like a downtown eviction. After the door shut behind him, the room fell silent. Then the VP turned to me with a completely different tone. "We owe you an apology." HR apologized. Legal apologized. The CFO apologized on behalf of the entire leadership team. They asked if I wanted to apply for Mark's position. But by then, I'd already made a decision. I didn't want his job. I wanted freedom. Within a week, I accepted an offer from a partner company, a higher position, better pay, and leadership that actually valued integrity. They had heard what I exposed and practically snatched me up before anyone else could. And Mark? Well, it seems the corporate world is smaller than he thought. The investigation they launched didn't just end with his firing. Word spread. His reputation was torched. No company wanted to touch him. His little scheme with the fake freelancer? That became a red flag so bright it could be seen from space. Last I heard, he was doing consulting work, which is corporate language for "no one will hire me." Some people think revenge is about rage. But the truth is, the best revenge is just letting the truth speak for itself. And when it came to Mark, the truth didn't whisper. It roared. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to the channel? It keeps stories like this alive. I've picked a story for you that I know you'll love. Go on, click on it. I'll see you in the next story.